You're listening to an archived Cabral Concept podcast. After listening to this show, check out the most up-to-date podcasts available at stephencabral.com/podcasts or search directly on iTunes. And now, welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Thanks so much for joining me here today on our first host call of the weekend. I'm really excited to be able to bring this show to you live from location over here in the West Coast. I actually woke up this morning about 4:30 a.m. I usually wake up somewhere between 4 and 4:30 when I'm on the West Coast. And that's obviously around 7 a.m. or so it's kind of like sleeping in for me. But I do try to go to bed a little bit earlier at night. However, this morning when I woke up, I had to get a lot done because I'm out here for interviews and for video filming and all that fun stuff. But there's a couple things that I wanted to tweak inside of the Integrative Health Practitioner module. So I recorded actually a couple of new videos, just kind of different takes, making it a little bit more lively, inside of the health certification area. So I recorded a couple modules. That was about an hour and a half or so. And then after that, we took off. I did a little over 2-hour interview after chatting with the guys for a little bit. Then I did about 2 hours of video taping. After that, little break, then I did actually more for the Integrative Health Practitioner module for future ones. And I am now recording our house calls. So this has been potentially one of my most epic days of speaking. I think it's going on exactly 12 hours now, and I would say 9 hours of 12 of those hours has been talking. But as my wife would say, probably no one loves talking more than you, meaning me. So I'm excited to be able to bring and answer more of these questions. And then it will be rest time for my voice so that I don't get all that information of the larynx in my vocal cords. And then we'll be able to rest it for our Mindset and Motivation Monday. So just wanted a little story time before we get started today on our host calls. Like I said, looking forward as always to being able to answer our community's questions. These literally come in all throughout the week. And these ones have been coming in, if I look at it right now, just about 12 weeks. We're really maintaining that pace. So we're maintaining about a 12-week pace of just being behind, meaning like if you were to write in today, most likely it will be answered in 12 weeks. And I know that that's a long time from now. I apologize for that. But what I like to let people know is that we're just going in the order in which the questions come in. But you can get actually answers the same day by going to cabralsupportgroup.com. It's the best way to get your answers. You literally just go into cabralsupportgroup.com. Let us know what's challenging for you. Let us know what's going on. Let the group support you, whether you're doing a detox or whatever it is, or share a victory. We love that. It shows other people you're following a protocol, you're getting results, and you want to say, like, listen, I was in your position. This is what you can do too. I mean, we love that. We really do. We don't ask for it, but we love for you to share that. And sharing those moments inspires others to take action. So if you're looking for what lab you should run based on your current symptoms, if you are looking for maybe what nutritional products to use, a question on recipes, head right over, go to cabralsupportgroup.com, and you can actually use the search bar, and you can search for previous ones as well. And you can do the same thing by going to stephencabral.com/podcasts. If you use the search bar and you type in something like, a big one is cold sores, right? You type in that. Or if you type in something such as bloating or food sensitivities, you're going to find a show on that, a podcast on that. And that might be all you need to answer that question and get you started. However, I do want you to know this is a service I'm going to continue to provide. And if you want to ask me the question and you don't mind waiting that 12 weeks, just go to stephencabral.com/podcasts. And right at that page, you can actually enter in your question. Now, it won't be read for about 12 weeks. The team won't see it. No one will see it. So that's why if it's customer service based, don't do that. If you're wondering about your order, then you can just email support@equilibriumnutrition.com. And if you have a health-based question, weight loss question, anti-aging question, or you want to say hi or share a victory, then that's at cabralsupportgroup.com. All right, so that's it for the weekend. That's all the updates that we're going to give you on where to go, how to get the information. That's our job. Our job is just to try to serve you in the best way that we can. And for right now, that's what we found to be the very best way to do that. And we just get hundreds and hundreds of emails and all that. So again, direct messaging me on social media is not the best bet. It's not possible for me to respond to all of them. It's hundreds. Like imagine opening up your email to hundreds of emails. Then imagine going on Facebook to Facebook Messenger and seeing hundreds of messages, and then going onto your DMs in Instagram and just seeing literally 100 DMs. It's quite a bit. So it's a little overwhelming, and in order for me to just keep my own stress down, this is the best system that we found. All right. Okay, the first question today is from Vivienne. Vivienne is asking, hi there, I've got multiple food sensitivities at the moment. Salicylates, oxalates, histamines, amine issues. Plus, can't seem to manage sulfur-based compounds particularly well either. I'm eating a very limited diet and doing okay, but don't think this is sustainable longer term. How do you go about helping someone recover when they're sensitive to such a wide range of foods? What labs would you run in order to get started? This is a great question. So we can absolutely help people in your same exact position. It means that you simply have a sensitive gut. You're sensitive and reacting to everything. Everything is inflammatory to you. Everything is really causing aggravation, irritation to all of the villi and your intestinal wall. So this is what we want to do. We actually want to start to rebuild that digestive system. The best way we can help you do that is by running an organic acids test and a stool test. If you could do one more, sure, it'd be great to run the food sensitivity test. But to be honest, your money is best spent with the organic acids test and the stool test. We'll then figure out what is going on with your gut that is causing so much inflammation when you eat these foods. Candida issues, C. diff, parasites, H. pylori, bacterial overgrowth, you name it, we'll find it on those two labs. That's the place to get started. Thank you, Vivienne, for writing in. That was great. Hello, I'm new to the podcast and absolutely loving it. I just listened to episode 185 after listening to 880. I have a question about milk. I'm weaning my son from breast milk and always have been taught to mix breast milk with whole milk to wean. Would you do the same with almond milk? Sure, you could do that. It's not something that I've ever recommended or done before. So when we look at traditionally, I'm doing a podcast coming up on Melissa Ambrosini's again. Great human being. Her and Nick are just absolutely amazing people. And so I was asked on for a third appearance. And it's all about getting the female body ready for becoming pregnant, and then when you are pregnant, and then what to do post-pregnancy as well. So before, basically just before a couple hundred years ago, it was known that ideally you're breastfeeding a child from basically a year to 2 years, ideally up to 2 years. And as you're weaning off, you might just be doing 1 to 2 nursings per day as just supplemental to food and not the need necessarily for any extra types of milk. Now, you could use almond milk if you want. It has more calcium than regular cow's milk, typically less reactive, unless they are reactive, obviously, to almonds. So that's something to look at. You could certainly do that. Again, it's never something that I've ever recommended before. But if you're interested in doing that, then I would have no issue with that. You know my feelings on cow's milk, not a huge fan, much more of a fan. If you're going to use milk at all and you want it to be from an animal, then it would be goat-based or sheep-based, and non-homogenized as well. Okay, I just think that for the amount of sensitivities I see, cow's milk's out of the question. Again, if you want to use an animal-based, then maybe you would go with one of those. So hopefully that helps. Pat's asking, hi, Dr. Ball, can a bald person get the hair tissue mineral analysis done using hair from other parts of the body, like the chest? Or does it need to come from the head? Thank you for spreading such useful, life-saving info through the podcast. Great question. Pat, you can actually use pubic hair for the hair tissue mineral analysis. Now, since it's going to be a different reading, you have to understand that when you use pubic hair versus the hair in your head, that the hair on your head is going to be basically the last 90 days if you use about 1.5 inches closest to the scalp. So with pubic hair, then it's not going to grow that same way, and that means that the results are going to be more longer term. So it is possible to do that, and we have done this multiple times in our practice, probably like 50 times. Like that's a lot, right? But we've done thousands of hair tissue mineral analysis. Nothing wrong with doing that. You'll still be able to see certain heavy metals, and you'll be able to see certain electrolyte levels. But if you don't feel like that's the right thing for you, totally understand. But yes, you can absolutely use pubic hair as well. All right, Gina's up next. And her question is, Dear Stephen, I believe my body is sick due to years of being on a restrictive keto diet. I went to hypnosis and only eat meat and vegetables. Now I can lose weight. I'm always bloated, have gas, stomach issues, and distress. I always get Charlie horses and always have postnasal drip. But I can't afford all the tests you suggest taking. What do you do? I'm about 30 pounds overweight, and I'm afraid to get off keto, though I'm stuck in my weight loss. I don't know where to begin. I appreciate your feedback. All right, great question, Gina. Totally understand where you're coming from, and you never have to run a lab if that's not financially feasible for you. So I totally understand. So here's the issue. Your metabolism has slowed. That's the truth, and people don't want to tell you that. And it slowed because you put yourself in what's called more of a survival-based state. You're on a low-carbohydrate diet. You're basically eating, well, it's just a low-carb diet. It's not really keto. If you're eating meat and vegetables, that's more low-carb paleo. Keto would be high-fat, 70% fat, very little protein, very little carbohydrates. So what we need to do is slowly get your body healthier, and that means more micronutrients. I would use a smoothie in the morning with the daily nutritional support powder. And again, that's like $1.50 a day, so it's nothing. You get all of your 15 grams of hypoallergenic protein. You get put in 1 cup of blueberries, put in some spinach. Just download the smoothie recipe guide. It's free. It's completely free. You can just go to today's podcast. Today's episode is 974. So just go to stephencabral.com/974. Scroll towards the bottom, past all of the links from today's show notes and the questions, and you'll be able to see that little graphic to download the smoothie report. You can also do the greens one. I mean, I can't recommend you enough doing the Dr. Cabral Daily Protocol. And that would give you all the nutrients that your body needs to know that it's no longer starving. And that will ease you, again, using the daily fruit and vegetable blend, 22 organic fruits and vegetables without all the carbs yet. And then we're going to ease you back into doing more carbohydrates while also adding a little bit more exercise if you're not doing that right now. Please do check out my previous podcasts on how to transition off a low-carb diet. All you have to do is go to stephencabral.com/podcast. Type in how to transition. That's it. Probably all you have to type in. Or you can type in low carb in quotations, and that will bring up that episode. That will tell you exactly how to transition off a low carb diet. That's exactly what I recommend, Gina. Remember, on the Cabral concept, though, we are not providing any medical advice. We don't cure, diagnose, or treat disease. We look at the underlying root causes and provide healthy health education. All right, Ann is up. Ann's talking about, hi, Dr. Cabral. I recently found out that the water where I grew up and where my family lives is very high in lead. We use a Brita filter, but because it's New York City, which has a reputation for having great tap water, we weren't diligent. What can I do? Should I focus on liver detox and straight to heavy metals? Can I do both at once? Help. All right, and so go to my podcast, stephencabral.com/podcast. Type in water filter in quotations. You'll realize that a Brita filter is great marketing, but not a great filter. Nothing against Brita, but the tests have already been done. And when you see the tests, and Brita filters can actually add some more metals, such as aluminum, back to the water, not a great place to start. Now, I do recommend some by Therasage, by Berkey, whole house filters. So check that out. It's just, I don't own any of the companies. What I try to do is great research for you and hopefully provide those recommendations. These are the same ones I use with my own family. I have Therasage for my family. I love the Berkey. What else? Drink spring water. Right now, I'm about to take a sip of Mountain Valley water. So all of those things are great. How do you know if you have heavy metals? Well, my recommendation would be to run a hair tissue mineral analysis. You could also do a urine-based metals test if you want. And can you do a liver detox? Absolutely. So you can do a heavy metal detox. So you never have to run a lab if you don't want. That's okay too. Maybe you just spend your money on the heavy metal detox. It's not expensive, but you can do that, the heavy metal protocol. Let me try to link that up in the show notes today. I'm going to make a note right now. We just call it the HMD, heavy metal detox. And you can do that. And once you're done with it, or even before it, you can do the 7, 14, or 21-day Dr. Cabral detox to open up those liver pathways. All right, Ann, great question. Nicole's up next. Hi, doctor. I suspect that I've been dealing with candida overgrowth for the past 1 to 2 years, although I have been diagnosed with hypothyroidism, but medications have not helped. I want to know what the best way to treat candida overgrowth is. Would your 7-day detox help with something like this? Thanks, Nicole. All right, so the 7-day detox helps to open up liver pathways, reduce inflammation, healthy levels, balance blood sugar, balance hormone levels, and really get the body primed in a primed, healthy state. But it's not meant to reduce candida. So our candida and bacterial overgrowth protocol is exactly what to do to get rid of candida. It works amazingly well. A test that would work great for you would be the organic acids test to test for that. And you'd want to run the thyroid adrenal hormone test. Or, if medication's not helping, you need to listen to a podcast. My highest recommendation is the 2 minerals that your thyroid needs, because you very likely might be missing the minerals that are contained in the daily thyroid support supplement that would allow you to produce more thyroid hormone. So that's important to check out. I just recommend that. So you could do the 7-day detox, but then you'd want to do the Candida bacterial overgrowth protocol. And I would most likely do something to give your thyroid a boost for about 12 weeks as needed. And that would be the daily thyroid support supplement. All right, great question. Sammy's up next. Hi, Dr. Cabral. I came across you through Jay Ferrugia's podcast, and have since listened to all your podcasts, and I'm halfway through reading The Rain Barrel Effect. Appreciate all the free information that you put out to help people live their healthiest, best lives. Being an extremely pale-skinned redhead living in Australia, where the sun and UV levels are quite high, do you have any thoughts on using peptides to protect from the sun, or the supplement astaxanthin? I'm converting to organic sunscreen from regular sunscreen, as you've recommended, although I do find it to be a very thick and cloggy. Thanks in advance. All right, Sammy, great question, really great question. And I often take this for granted because a lot of my friends are from Irish-based descent, or they have much lighter skin than I do. I come from a more of a Mediterranean-based descent. I have Portuguese in my nationality. I have Italian. I have many other different nationalities. I'm about literally 10 different nationalities. So pick a nationality, and that's basically what I am. But my skin's a little bit more on the olive side, a little on the darker side. I don't really need as much sunscreen. I put it around my forehead and eyes and a little bit on my neck and shoulders because that's the area for a long period of time that will get a lot more sun, and I don't want that area to just basically become, a charcoaled mess. So that's what I do. I do use the organic sunscreen, and anybody who wants to know my sunscreen recommendations can find out the homemade one that I recommend, as well as the store-bought one, and you can simply go to stevencabral.com/podcast, type in sunscreen in quotations. So I know that you're already onto that path, which is great. Now, using peptides, I've never used peptides to protect against the sun, so I appreciate you bringing that up. I'll definitely check it out. However, I have recommended before astaxanthin. So astaxanthin is a powerful antioxidant that's contained in things like krill or any type of red, even wild salmon. So the way, though, that you would help to protect against the sun by taking an astaxanthin would actually be at a much higher dose, somewhere minimum of 3 milligrams, but I've seen more like 5 milligrams and up. I've also seen astaxanthin help quite a bit in the literature. Now, again, I don't use astaxanthin a lot in my practice, but in the literature, I have seen it work with rheumatoid arthritis and other issues where free radical damage seems to be an issue. So I'm a huge fan of astaxanthin. It's what gives krill and wild salmon and any other red fish, for the most part, that beautiful red color. I hope that helps. Yes, astaxanthin would be great using the natural sunscreens and the ones that I recommended. They're a little thicker, they are. You can make your own, but you're using predominantly, like I said, the non-nanoparticle zinc oxide mixed with all the other nice things as well. So appreciate you tuning into the podcast. Appreciate you reading The Rain Barrel Effect. I hope that I was able to at least give you some advice there. What I typically recommend for people that are much more fair skin is that you do cover up. You get some sun on a daily basis. You get your vitamin D levels up, but then you do cover up. You put on a hat or you put on a shirt, and you can just wear a long sleeve, lightweight shirt to act as its own sunscreen protectant as well. Now, if you are outside, you do have your shirt off, great, no problem at all. That's when you'll use your natural sunscreen as well. All right, Morgan's up next. Morgan's writing in. Hi, Dr. Paul. I was wondering if you could explain the fast, slow, and mixed oxidizer from the hair tissue mineral analysis and the significance of this marker. What are the diet and lifestyle differences which are best for each? Could the oxidative type change as you start to heal? If you're a slow oxidizer, is showing signs of stress in the HTMA, and you follow your protocol and improve, would the oxidizer type change? Thank you so much for your help. Yeah, really great question on this. Well, let me tell you this. So Lawrence Wilson is kind of one of the most foremost authorities on the hair tissue mineral analysis. He has an amazing book. You can literally just type in hair tissue mineral analysis and Dr. Lawrence Wilson, brilliant man, spoke with him many times, read his book, used it as a reference guide. He's great, very smart. I've read Dr. Eck's book. Dr. Eck was a starter essentially of ARL. A brilliant man as well named Dr. George Watson wrote a book called Nutrition in Your Mind. Another doctor called, I wish I could give him credit right now, Bill, I believe is his first name, but he wrote a book called Metabolic Typing. So what we know is this, is that people naturally trend towards one. If you're more sympathetic nervous system based, you're going to trend more towards a slow oxidizer. If you're more parasympathetic nervous system based, you're going to trend more towards a fast oxidizer. It means the rate at which you metabolize, break down, move through certain foods. And it's actually very simple to understand. If you are someone that's more of a higher stress pattern, you're going to see that on a hair tissue mineral analysis. You'll see it typically, you'll just see the elevated calcium. But I want to share with you this, is that a lot of times more of the Vata body type or the ectomorphic body type is more of the higher stress pattern. Now, anybody can though, like literally. I have endomorphs, kapha body types come in because we live in a Western-based society. And a lot of people have that Vata go, go, go. So they're still slow oxidizers. And that's because if the blood or your body's always ramped up and it's in the sympathetic nervous system, then it's not in the parasympathetic nervous system. And the parasympathetic nervous system, it's what needed to slow down and digest. It's called the rest and digest, the parasympathetic nervous system. R&R, rest, relax, digest. And the sympathetic nervous system is the fight or flight. So can this change? Absolutely. Absolutely it changes. So you can go from like 3 stars from a slow oxidizer, maybe down to 2 stars or 1 star. Or ideally what we're trying to do for everyone is move to the mixed oxidizer status. So not fast oxidizer, not slow oxidizer, but actually mixed oxidizer, which is a balanced approach. That's the goal. Just keep in mind, it's not necessarily bad to be a fast oxidizer or slow oxidizer. A slow oxidizer, easier to digest foods, simple meals. Whereas the fast oxidizer, going to need a little bit more fat and protein at that meal. And that will help slow down that digestion as well, keep them satiated longer. Whereas a slow oxidizer, have a little bit more time between meals. Definitely not more than the 3 meals per day typically for a slow oxidizer. Fast oxidizer, they might have 4. And that might be 3 to 4 hours apart, where the slow oxidizer might be more like 4 to 5 hours between meals. So Morgan, as you begin to heal and get healthy, you can absolutely change that status. But just know that some people will trend in one direction. All right, let's get into one more question because I see the word right here under Emma's question, blastocystis hominis, and that's something that I love talking about, working with, so let's talk about it. Emma says, hi, about a year ago I got blastocystis hominis and went on intense antibiotics to get rid of it, which worked, but ever since I got the blasto, my stomach has never been the same. I find myself getting severely bloated, I'm sensitive to lots of foods, and I lack energy. I've been doing a low FODMAP diet for a while and find that it helps, but my stomach still is not the same as what it used to be. I was wondering if there was a test you recommend for me to do so I can help figure out what's going on and get back to normal. Absolutely. So check out a podcast I did, Why Candida Diets Are Not Enough. Check that out. Just put in Candida Diets in quotations at stevencabral.com/podcast. Sorry, a little sip of water. Okay, so here's what happens. You have a parasite, or you have bacterial overgrowth, or you have something else going on with your gut, and you take antibiotics. Great. So we wiped out, whether it's an antiparasitic based or it's antibiotic, we wiped out whatever that thing is. With medical doctors, and again, it's not their fault because they're not taught this. When you take an antibiotic, you are eliminating a lot of the bacterial growth in general, good and bad in the intestines. That's fine, okay? That's what it's meant to do. Here's what happens though. You leave space. When space is left, what you didn't give along with the antibiotic was called an antifungal. And if you don't give a nystatin along with an antibiotic, you will allow then for the proliferation of candida overgrowth. And when you don't give someone Saccharomyces boulardii when they're taking antibiotics, you can then allow that yeast to overgrow. So most likely, you do have candida overgrowth because you took massive antibiotics to get rid of the blasto. So my recommendation is this. Can't recommend this enough. If you run 1 lab, it's the organic acids test. If you run 2, it's the organic acids test and the stool test. You will then get our synopsis of that lab with the health coach, okay, or both those labs. Then you'll get our full plan. I literally read your labs, and our health coaches give you their recommendations. I obviously approve all of those recommendations and make changes when warranted. So you get my recommendations. All of these labs are available at equilibriumnutrition.com, and you just click on the labs tab. That's all you have to do. A lot of times they're in the show notes page. You just go to stevencabral.com/974. But you can always just go to equilibriumnutrition.com. That's where we house all of our online virtual functional medicine practice so that anyone anywhere in the world can get these labs. And in about another month, we're going to be shipping to New Zealand and Europe. And that's our goal. We have to deal with all the different taxes and import fees and all the crazy things that other countries do, right? And it's not their country, it's just the US and other countries. And I'm just like, can't we all just kind of get along and just not have to pay all these crazy taxes? But apparently, I live in too much of an idealistic world. But I like that world that I live in, so I'm going to continue to live there, but we do have to abide by all of that, so we're working on it right now and getting that set up. But here's what I want you to do. Run that organic acids test. Run the stool test. You'll get our recommendations. You'll understand why candida diets are not enough once you listen to that podcast, because even though you're starting to shrink them, you don't wipe them out and then you don't repopulate in the right way. That will teach you exactly what to do on that podcast, And if possible, I would absolutely run those labs. Really great questions today. Those were a lot of fun. Flew by. That's our 25 minutes. So I appreciate everyone being on today. Appreciate all of your listens. We'll answer another 7 to 10 questions or so tomorrow. Hopefully you do tune back in then. Hopefully you're having an amazing weekend and can't wait to chat with you tomorrow. Take care, everyone. Are you ready to heal yourself and then go on to heal others? If so, the Integrative Health Practitioner Institute can help you discover proven functional medicine protocols that blend the best of 7 different healing disciplines from around the world. I personally share with you the exact handouts and protocols I use in my private practice that enable people to get well, lose the weight, and live longer, stronger. I want to pass this information on to the next generation of health coaches, and that is exactly why I created IHP. We are the future of the health coaching industry, and the skills and knowledge you will learn will make you an in-demand certified health coach anywhere in the world. Although we have many medical professionals taking the IHP certifications, no experience is necessary, and half our members have no previous health certifications. At the Integrative Health Practitioner Institute, our motto is a health coach in every home. Our goal is that you take this knowledge and then share it with family, friends, loved ones, your community, or in a practice where you create a career you love and can be proud of. The global IHP community is filled with some of the most kind and caring people in the world, and we can't wait to welcome you into our world soon. For more information or to set up a discovery call with one of our IHP Health Coach graduates, simply head over to integrativehealthpractitioner.org.